just over 24 hours since it was announced that the Daw Mill Colliery in North Warwickshire is closing. A fire broke out deep underground at the site about 2 weeks ago, and that's still burning. UK Coal say that it means the site will have to close, with most of the 650 workers losing their jobs. Dave Muse was one of them. He worked there for 39 years, and he said yesterday on the show the mine had an uncertain future for some time.
The way the company, and more so Daw Mill's been run in the last 5 years, has ended up where we are. We were always the most profitable, productive pit in the country, but decisions that were taken way back as 5 years ago have finally led to this happening.
We heard in the last hour how North Warwickshire Borough Council are pledging to help the redundant workforce, but what role does the government play in all of this, and what impact does this have on the UK energy policy, or has one caused the other? Energy Minister John Hayes joins us on the show this morning. John, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Morning.
We talked, was it about a week, 10 days ago, something like that, and you were saying, look, I need to know the full impact of the fire before I can say what kind of help the government can give. Now we know the news yesterday. What are your thoughts?
Well, the key thing is the people, as you've said, Shane. The tragedy of this, and it is obviously a tragedy because no one could have expected this fire. It's been a very severe event, and the company have made the commercial decision as a result to close. The tragedy of that is the people. Now, my anxiety is the people involved in this. Those that can are moved on, as you said. There's some chance I understand some of them going to the stores we fit in Nottinghamshire. But those that aren't able to be reaccommodated by the company, I want to give as much support as possible.
But, I mean, that means retraining and moving them out of mining, doesn't it? I mean, we can kiss goodbye to mining, can't we then, really?
Well, you know, there are a lot of mining jobs in the country, and some people will relocate, but I accept that the majority won't. So I've been involved with Job Centre Plus, I've been involved with BIS, the Department for Business Innovation and Skills. I want to put as much effort as we can into helping these people to retrain, if that's necessary, as you say, to get other jobs, as much support as we can. And also, I'm saying to the company, I'm meeting the company regularly, as you can imagine, you know, they've got to play right by the workers too.
I want to talk about the energy policy, but before we do that, I mean, from a personal perspective, as I understand it, would you say you're pro-coal?
I am pro-coal, yeah. I think coal could have a really positive future. I mean, that's about clean coal, of course, because we're running a big carbon capture and storage competition. I don't want to go off at a tangent, but as you know, that's critical to this, because if we get that right, and I think we will, that can mean that coal has a low-carbon future. Got a lot of it underground. I mean, it would be a nonsense to close the door on coal if we can get CCS.
The reason I wanted to sort of clarify that is because obviously, I mean, Dave was bringing up some points yesterday when we talked to him, and saying that he was worried about the energy policy and whether that had in a way caused the difficulties. Have a listen to one of the things he was saying yesterday.
Due to successive governments not having a viable energy plan, we've been allowed as an industry to, you know, get smaller and smaller. Everybody said that in 2014 that the lights are going to go out. Well, the lights are going out already because, you know, how many people wake up in the morning now and they haven't got any street lights on? Next week, it might be the telly lights. Next year, it might be the computer. And God forbid the year after, it might be a life support machine that goes off. Purely and simply because we haven't got an energy policy.
And what he also said was that the pit has got a coal seam that runs somewhere near to Oxford. So there's a lot of coal down there. How do we get that out?
Well, there's several things about what the gentleman said. The first is, of course, we have got an energy policy. I'm putting the most important energy bill through the House of Commons that we've seen since privatisation. I mean, that bill already published, already had its committee stage, going through the House to set out our ambitions for energy, not just for the next few years, but the next decades. Now, that's about having a mixed kind of range of generating capacity. Some gas, some nuclear, some renewables, as much flexibility, as much responsiveness as possible. At the moment, coal plays a big part in that, but you know that coal, there's an issue with coal and carbon emissions. We're committed to try and reduce those carbon emissions. As I said, with carbon capture and storage, that changes. It's absolutely right that we should look at every possibility of clean coal. And at the moment, coal still plays a big part in our and our provision of energy.
But we're getting
that's why we want to support UK coal to carry on and make sure the other pits stay open.
We're getting it from the wrong places, though, aren't we? We heard a local coalman earlier on saying he gets his coal from Colombia now, John.
Yeah, about 40% of it comes from the UK. We do import coal. We have done for some time. This is not a recent thing. But, we can't have coal and do our meet our carbon emissions targets without clean coal, and that's why carbon capture and storage is so important.
No, but surely...
I'm not anti-coal. By no means I'm anti-coal.
But surely...
Let's be realistic about the future.
But surely what we can do is make sure that the coal that we do have isn't imported at a higher cost, is that even if it means subsidising the work that goes on here, surely it would be better to have our own coal out of the 40% or whatever.
Well, that's why it's so important that we don't let this tragic event, this fire at Daw Mill...
But it's more than the fire, isn't it? I mean, that's the point.
The fire has precipitated the commercial decision by the companies to close. But you're absolutely right, you said it in your introductory remarks, that the implications for the whole of the coal industry are something I'm working on very hard as well. So it is about the people at Daw Mill. It's also about making sure the UK Coal, the company involved, are not affected to the point where other pits are in danger for exactly the reason you gave about the need to maintain domestic production.
Just before I let you go, have a listen to a final word from Dave Muse.
As I'm talking to you now, excuse me, I've got men coming in to empty the lockers, and these are hard men, and there's tears in their eyes. You can't put that into words.
If you were to meet Dave in the street, could you look him in the eye and tell him that the government... Can I ask you the question? Could you look him in the eye and tell him that the government has done enough for his industry, John?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do through your programme, if you don't mind. I'm going to offer to come and meet Dave. And I'm going to offer to come and meet Dave to talk about what we're going to do. Obviously with the company. The company's got a responsibility too here to support those workers. That's what I'm going to do.